There's an old expression amongst traders, and that is that an investment is just a trade that hasn't worked out yet. In my portfolio, the trade that has become an investment is the stock of Meta, more commonly known as Facebook, ticker META. On their latest earnings report a couple of weeks ago, the stock gapped higher and has continued higher since then, and it only pulled back a little bit, very modestly, when the overall broader market sold off. There's a lot to like on this chart. When I look at this chart, it's almost like a dream chart for a technical analysis textbook illustrator, because there's multiple indicators all within one chart that's easily viewable, and it's a daily chart. I'm going to point out the 4 or 5 that I'm looking at that are most consistent with how I trade. Point 1, the recent low was on very high volume. 2 earnings reports ago, after it announced, it gapped down the next day, and then it continued to go lower for over a week, and it did this on really high volume. That might look bearish to some, but I see this as bullish. I see this as a possible volume flush where institutional money that was going to do all the selling based on the bad earnings report did their selling, and then you can see it start to drift higher from there. There are multiple bullish moving average crossovers in close succession to one another. The most widely followed moving average crossover is happening right now. I'm looking at the simple 50-day, that's the orange line, just starting to cross above 200-day, and that is known as the golden cross. It's widely followed, and because of that, it becomes self-fulfilling with price action. The third thing to note is that even after this stock started to pull back in, since it had gotten so overextended, it came back to its 21 EMA and it stayed nicely above it in a very orderly fashion, even as the broader market sold off. 4. The gap up after the most recent earnings announcement. The gap was significant. It would have been bullish just to see the stock close above that 200 SMA. Not only did it easily retake the 200 SMA, it gapped way above it like it wasn't even a level that was being watched by institutional traders relative to the strength of that earnings announcement. The last point, 5, I like the way that even when the market had sold off, the moving average crossovers remain intact. There's no damage done, even though there was some bearish sentiment that had crept into the market last week. There's probably some indicators that are happening that are really bullish and some chart patterns that I'm missing. There's a plethora of them. Those 5 are just the ones that I'm watching. For all of those reasons, I am looking for an entry point, hopefully a small sell-off this week, so I can get a little bit more overweight in the position I'm holding. In a nutshell, the chart's awesome. If you've actually made it this far, I really appreciate it. I have a love of trading and markets, and increasingly I'm finding it helpful to do my investment research by recording these YouTube videos. Really helps with the thought process. If this is remotely interesting to you, please subscribe and please hit that like button. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.